This wasn't just a drowning dot, it wasn't just some random tragedy dot, it felt like a warning. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, a man who grew up in front of millions, loved for his warmth, intelligence, and quiet strength, is gone, the official story says. He died in a swimming accident while on vacation in Costa Rica with his 8-year-old daughter. They claim a riptide pulled him under. They say it happened quickly. They say it was peaceful. But there's another side they're not telling, because only weeks before his death, Malcolm had started working on something dangerous, a documentary that would strip away Hollywood's shiny, fake image and reveal its darkest truths. He wanted to show how the industry treats black men who refuse to play the clown, wear a dress, or sell their dignity for fame. According to friends, he believed that speaking the truth could cost you not just your career, but your life. And now, he's gone. Comedian Katt Williams is staying silent. He's calling it what he believes it is, not an accident, but an erasure. Katt says they removed a man who stood for truth and self-respect. He says the footage Malcolm filmed has vanished. The people he exposed are quiet. The world is suddenly praising Malcolm as a legend, but when he was alive and needed their support, almost no one stood beside him. So the question is, was this really an accident? Or was Malcolm-Jamal Warner silenced? The headlines made it sound simple. Actor drowns while on family trip. But behind those polished news reports was a man who had been followed, pressured, and threatened. Malcolm wasn't just Theo Huxtable from The Cosby Show. He was a symbol of what black excellence looked like on mainstream television. Intelligent, grounded, and unapologetically himself. He never played the Hollywood game. He stayed out of gossip, avoided the spotlight, and focused on raising his daughter. But in the final months of his life, he decided it was time to speak. Friends say he was collecting stories from other actors, child stars from the 80s and 90s who had been exploited, discarded, or left struggling. Some were homeless, some were battling addiction. Many were too afraid to talk. Malcolm was connecting the dots. He was naming names. He told a friend, "If I disappear, it wasn't an accident." 3 weeks later, he was dead. The official story was airtight. Within hours of his passing, news outlets all over the country published nearly identical reports. He drowned while saving his daughter. He died a hero, they said. And maybe he did. But doesn't it feel strange how perfectly the story was packaged? No conflicting witness accounts. No leaked photos. No shaky cell phone footage. In 2025, someone is always recording. Yet this time, there was nothing. The autopsy report, sealed. The hotel's security camera footage, unavailable, cost a reach on officials. Not answering questions from US reporters. And when people online began to ask questions, their posts started disappearing. YouTube demonetized tribute videos that mentioned foul play. Instagram removed posts that hinted at a cover-up. TikTok became flooded with AI-generated rest in peace clips that felt more like propaganda than mourning. Through all this, Katt Williams spoke up on a live stream that went viral. He said, "Every time a brother is about to shake things up, right when he's about to say something that matters, suddenly he's gone. Same script, different man." He compared Malcolm's death to others. Michael K. Williams, Chadwick Boseman, DMX, all strong black men, all gone too soon, all surrounded by unanswered questions. And then there's the most disturbing detail. Malcolm's footage is missing. Sources say he had hours of interviews recorded for his documentary. He kept copies in the cloud. Yet, on the very night he died, his storage account was accessed, and every single file was erased. His phone was recovered, his laptop too. But every project file was gone. No backups. No trace. When his publicist was asked about the project, she called it something powerful he deeply believed in. But when reporters pressed for details, she quickly changed the subject. Even more suspicious, Malcolm had reportedly been working with a small team of independent filmmakers. Now, almost all of them have disappeared from social media. Phones disconnected, websites deleted. And then there's the letter. 3 days before his death, Malcolm is said to have mailed a sealed envelope to his lawyer. On it were the words, "For my daughter. If anything happens to me." The contents haven't been made public, but a family insider says it contains passwords, names, locations, and a warning. If that's true, then someone knows exactly what Malcolm wanted the world to hear. But that voice has been silenced. And the silence doesn't end there. There's been no real statement from major Hollywood producers. No word from his old Cosby Show castmates. Insiders even claim one actress from the show was told by her agency not to comment because of ongoing investigations. What investigations? There's been no official mention of any, unless, of course, there is one. Just not the kind the public is allowed to know about. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Malcolm didn't drown because he was careless. He died because he was ready to break his silence. And if we let this story fade away, then Katt Williams is right. It becomes open season on anyone who dares to speak the truth. This is bigger than Malcolm. It's about the system, the silence, and the cover dash-up. They want us to believe it was just water, just a tragic accident. But when you peel back the layers, when you listen to people who really knew him, a darker picture begins to form. Katt Williams in just throwing wild theories. He's lived inside the same machine. He's seen the gears turning, and he believes the same machine that tried to destroy him was working to break Malcolm too. Malcolm wasn't like others in Hollywood. He didn't chase attention. He didn't sell himself for fame. He didn't compromise who he was just to stay relevant. And in an industry built on manipulation and humiliation, that made him dangerous. Katt once said in an interview, "If you're black in Hollywood and you ain't putting on a dress or playing a fool, you're a threat." That quote hits even harder now, because Malcolm refused to take roles that made black men the punchline. He turned down deals that demanded he betray himself. He walked away from opportunities that asked him to be someone he was and single quotes T. And more than that, he spoke the truth, quietly, calmly, with dignity. And in Hollywood, dignity is dangerous. In the end, the documentary never saw the light of day. The footage is gone. The files are erased. The people who worked with him have vanished. And the man who wanted to tell the truth, the man who warned his friends that if he disappeared it wouldn't be an accident, is no longer here to speak. So now we're left with questions. And the biggest one of all. Who silenced Malcolm-Jamal Warner, and why? There's no trace of it now. His hard drives are gone. His notes have vanished. Friends say he spoke about being followed weeks before he went to Costa Rica, but nobody took him seriously until now. The official story says he drowned while trying to save his daughter. Yes, that's brave. But something about it feels wrong. The resort had 3 trained lifeguards on duty that morning. The beach was marked safe for swimming, and yet, not one person came forward in the first 2 days. No tourists speaking up. No cell phone photos. No videos. Not even a single eyewitness. Just silence. As if someone wanted the whole thing to quietly disappear. Then, only a few days later, TMZ released a warm, emotional tribute to Malcolm's life, complete with interviews, childhood clips, and carefully packaged memories. The kind of video that takes weeks to prepare. It didn't feel like a spontaneous tribute. It felt like it had been planned. Katt Williams didn't stay quiet. On social media, he spoke openly. He said the industry only loved Malcolm after he died. When he was alive, they ignored him, left his messages unread. He didn't play their game, Katt said. Now they want to act like he was one of theirs. He wasn't. He was one of ours. And they couldn't stand that. Then came the most chilling part. Katt claimed that just a month before Malcolm's death, they had a private conversation. Malcolm told him, "I feel like I'm being watched. Like somebody's trying to shut me up before I say too much." At the time, Katt brushed it off as paranoia. Now, he's not so sure. Rumors began spreading that Malcolm was about to launch a raw, unfiltered podcast about his life in Hollywood. No scripts, no filters, no fake smiles. He wanted to talk about the contracts, the agents, the directors who took advantage of young black talent. He was ready to speak his truth, and then suddenly, he was gone. The media called it a tragic accident, but too many. It felt like a silencing. Insiders began whispering about producers he clashed with, awards he was mysteriously denied, roles that somehow went to someone else. And then there was the strange last-minute trip, no public announcement, no leaked travel details, just a private getaway that ended in tragedy. Malcolm's daughter, only 8 years old, survived. She was pulled from the water unharmed. Family says she doesn't remember anything, but children often recall more than they admit. The fact that she's being kept away from the media only adds to the mystery. Katt's warning was sharp. If you think Hollywood can't make somebody disappear, you've been watching too many movies. This industry isn't built on talent. It's built on sacrifice. And if you don't play along, you don't last. So the question lingers, was Malcolm's death just a terrible accident? Or was he a threat to a system he refused to obey? If even half of what Katt says is true, this story ain't really about water, it's about silence. The funeral came and went, with social media full of old photos and emotional captions from celebrities. Producers released polished statements. Former co-stars called him a gentle soul, but Katt called it a performance, a public relations show. The same industry that pushed him aside while he was alive suddenly wanted to claim him as their hero. Where was that love when he needed it? Katt asked, where was that support when he stood for what he believed in? Sitting in a dimly lit studio, Katt said something that froze the room. They kill your spirit first. And when that doesn't work, they drown your body. He wasn't speaking in metaphors, according to him. Malcolm had been approached many times to play the game, to take roles that humiliated him, to participate in degrading stunts for late-night shows, to agree to contracts that stripped away his dignity. Each time, he refused. Not long before his death, Malcolm reportedly turned down a huge offer from a top streaming service to play a role he found disgraceful. A week later, he was in Costa Rica and dead. People say he drowned, saving his daughter, but Katt insists there's more. Family friends say Malcolm was extremely careful around water. He could swim, but he avoided unnecessary risks, especially with his daughter nearby. One friend said he was too protective. He wouldn't have put her in danger. A private investigator hired by an anonymous source found no lifeguards on the beach that day, no warning signs, and missing security footage from the resort during the hours he died. While official reports claim help arrived quickly, some witnesses say it took over 20 minutes before anyone showed up. By then, it was too late. Katt believes the answer lies in that Malcolm was working on a secret documentary called Unscripted, The Price of Truth. It was meant to reveal Hollywood's history of exploiting and silencing black artists. Malcolm had planned to interview former child stars, forgotten legends, whistleblowers, and even ex-executives. According to Katt, this project could have ended careers. As the project gained momentum, Malcolm allegedly started receiving offers to walk away quietly. He refused. Then came the threats. He told close friends about strange cars parked near his home, phone calls cutting out, hacked emails. Most of it went unreported. Malcolm didn't want to sound paranoid, but now, it all feels connected. Katt says Malcolm even received a disturbing email 2 days before his trip. The subject line read, "Final warning, let it go." The sender's address was encrypted. Katt's team hasn't confirmed if it's real, but the timing is suspicious. That trip wasn't a vacation, Katt said. It was an escape. He was trying to breathe. He never made it back. Now the same media that ignored him for years is suddenly calling him a legend. The same platforms that rejected his independent work are selling memorial specials. The same publicists who said he was too difficult are profiting from his name. Katt's voice broke near the end. He didn't want to be rich. He wanted to be real. He didn't die because of an accident. He died because the system doesn't know how to handle a black man who refuses to kneel. Then came his final revelation. Malcolm had recorded one last message just 48 hours before the trip, filmed in his backyard. It was supposed to be a trailer for his documentary series. Looking straight into the camera, Malcolm said, "If you're seeing this, I probably didn't make it back. But that doesn't mean I'm gone. It means I finally said enough." The full video hasn't been released. Katt is trying to recover it from a damaged hard drive. But even the short clip that's leaked is haunting. It shows a man who knew his time might be running out, but refused to stay silent. It shows a father who died protecting the truth. It shows an industry willing to erase anyone who stands in its way. And it leaves us with a hard question. Are we going to keep letting Hollywood rewrite the stories of our black heroes only after they're gone? Or will we demand the truth while they're still here to tell it? Because if we wait too long, we might lose the next Malcolm before he ever gets the chance to speak.